A proposed bill in Ohio would make squatting a misdemeanor, and if they do more than $5,000 worth of property damage, a felony. But a tenant rights group says that it would criminalize the homeless. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of Toledo, Ohio, and it's actually a story about a landlord there who is sick of squatters, okay? And he has dealt with squatters before, had to go through the whole civil eviction process, wants to get the state law changed so that it's a crime and so that the police can easily remove these people. I agree 100%. I believe it should be that way in every single state, but the tenant rights groups, they're screaming, they're mad, they're saying, oh no, you're trying to criminalize homelessness. And I'm like, wait a second here. So you're saying that people who are squatting, people who break into my house and then live there without my permission, well, they would have been homeless, so now it is my responsibility to allow them to live in my house for free? The people who say that kind of stuff are stupid. Okay, they are stupid, and you know what? I wish that these squatters would break up into those people's houses and just be like, hey, this is what you wanted, I'm here, I'm just gonna stay here, and you have to pay for it. You know, I wish that these squatters would do that to these people. Then they would get a reality check and realize, oh, this isn't the homelessness issue, this is a crime issue, and these people deserve to be charged criminally, locked up, okay, and that's it. Okay, there is no civil eviction process removing these people through a slow, months-long garbage, wasted of time. It just angers me, okay? And this landlord here in this article, he goes through and he says, hey, this isn't like a victimless crime. I'm spending a lot of money on attorney fees, court fees, property damage, etc. when these squatters go up in my property. So, you know, we need to get the law changed. And they don't have a right to just do whatever they want just because maybe they are struggling. If they are struggling and they think they can just do whatever they want, you know, they can steal from other people because that's what they're doing. They're stealing. And we should never think that stealing is acceptable, ever, period. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you believe that these squatters are just poor, innocent, homeless victims? Oh, victims of the system, and that you, as the landlord, are personally responsible for making sure that they don't become homeless? Because that's what these people think, these advocates, these rights groups, these morons who think that these squatting laws are wrong. They think it is your personal responsibility to pull the money out of your pocket and then hand it to these people. Let them live in your property for free. I disagree. So anyway, let's get into this article. This article is coming from 13 ABC, 13 Action News, WTVG, and it says, I-Team, Toledo landlord evicting squatters, speaking in favor of new legislation. All right, let's see what the article says. A Toledo landlord has spent more than 25 days trying to reclaim his property from squatters, and the process isn't over yet. You just can't go into somebody's property, take possession, and you don't own it. Jeff Savage, the owner of Toledo Transformation and more than 500 properties across the county, said. Unfortunately for Savage, that's not the actual case. Savage went to check on one of his properties after evicting a previous tenant last month. When he arrived, he found the locks changed and a family, 2 adults and 3 children, living inside. So yeah, when these squatters, they look out for homes that become vacant, you know, recently became vacant, or, you know, look for signs that somebody's not living in a house, and they will jump up in there as quickly as possible. They'll pull out this little fake sheet of paper. Sometimes they don't even have that fake lease, okay? But the cops, when they get there, they always say, oh, well, this is a civil eviction problem. You have to go through the eviction process. We don't know who the real tenant is. And they're like, listen, I'll sign a sworn affidavit swearing that this person is not a legal tenant and that they are trespassing if you just get them up out of here. And the police are like, no, we can't do that. We can't take your word for it. Like, okay, if you can't take my word, then that means that simply put, anybody in the world could break into anyone else's house and just stay there and like, well, I'm a tenant. I was renting that room over there, so they can't get rid of me. So yeah, there has to be a process, or this will start affecting not just landlords, not just us, property owners with more than one house, but also owner occupants who maybe went on vacation. Maybe you just went to work one day and you came home and somebody was living up in your house. Okay, you don't know. But the way the law is written right now, anyone who owns a house could become a victim. Okay, and that is why this law needs to change. He called Toledo police to kick them out. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I think you're going to have to evict them, an officer said on body camera footage. When people establish residency somewhere, we can't make them leave. That would be violating their rights, even if they might not have a lease here. Someone establishes residency. What does that mean? Okay? Somebody broke into your house without your permission and then said, well, I live here. Is that establishing residency? Okay, you can't establish residency if you have no right to be there. I mean, if I went down to a local Walmart and just, well, I live here now. I'm inside the house. Therefore, I'm inside the building. Therefore, I have residency here inside Walmart. No, it doesn't work that way. They could just say, hey, no, he doesn't. He's trespassing. And then kick you out. So why can't you do that with your own house? Funny how that works, isn't it? But anyway, I think that we need to change the laws. Ohio is actually one of the more landlord-friendly places. It really is. So it surprises me when you say, hey, they haven't yet changed these sort of laws, okay? These are the same things that people experience in other parts of the country. The good thing about Ohio is, at least with the civil eviction process, it is relatively efficient, and you can get these people up out of there in a couple months. But if you're talking about a place outside of Ohio, let's say we were talking about someone in California who was doing the exact same thing, well, it might be years before you get that person up out of there. So yeah, people wonder why I'm always talking about these sort of laws. Well, we experience the same problems just on different scales, no matter where you're at in the country, no matter where you own real estate. And even in places like Florida where they've changed the laws, I've still heard of newer cases after they passed that new law where the landlord has a squatter up in their property because, they fell into some sort of exception to the law that made it so that the police couldn't remove that person. So yeah, it's like it's very hard to escape this problem, and I think we just have to be very diligent and make sure that we don't let these people run all over us. Goodness. So we need the laws to be in favor of landlords, in favor of property ownership, and not in favor of criminals. Savage discovered the family 25 days ago. Today he was granted an eviction order, but the process still isn't over yet. 25 days is pretty good. A normal process can be up to 30 days based on how busy the bailiff is, Savage said. We hope to expedite this process. Time isn't Savage's only issue. That attorney you saw today, that's not free. The court costs aren't free, Savage said. I think the biggest cost is going to be when we go into that unit. That's what I'm afraid of. What are we going to see inside there? Savage says cost isn't his primary concern. He says what is important is raising awareness. And yeah, he's absolutely right, okay? The cost, obviously this guy owns 500 houses. He's experienced a lot. He's seen a lot. And, he's working this into, his expenses. But when you wonder why a landlord is charging more expensive rents, well, this is the sort of things that we run into, okay? We can't charge cheap rent. Imagine if he had all of his units priced just, right at the lowest possible thing, so he didn't make barely any money. Well, how is he going to cover the thousands of dollars in property damage that he's going to get, when he gets these squatters in his unit? How is he going to cover that? So yeah, remember, when we price our units, we are pricing in our costs, our expenses, the hassle that we have to go through, and of course, a profit. Okay, we deserve to make a profit. And you know what? People, they can complain all they want about rents not being cheap, housing not being affordable anymore, but it is caused by the garbage people and the garbage laws that allow this sort of thing to happen, okay? So anyway, I'm going to skip down a little bit because I thought that the comment from this tenant rights group was interesting. The advocates for basic legal equality is opposing the legislation, saying it would put vulnerable populations at risk, criminalize homelessness, and eliminate due process. The current proposed legislation really is an attempt to move a lot of the due process from the courtroom to the curb, and forcing police officers to make the kind of decisions that would really be better served by judges and having a complete process, an adversarial process that allows both parties to be heard, Jennifer Martinez, as supervising attorney for Abel's Housing and Community Group, said. You shouldn't be surprised that this is a tenant's attorney that just made that stupid statement, okay? This person would lose their job if it was, if they weren't able to fight tenants' legal cases for them. Ooh, yeah, that sounds so dumb. It sounds dumb, okay? Because you're like, oh, well, you know what? You're putting vulnerable populations at risk. So a vulnerable criminal broke into your house and decided to start stealing it from you. And so you should just deal with it. You wouldn't want to evict them. You wouldn't want to remove this vulnerable criminal from your home, right? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, well, what about the homeless? You're putting these people out on the street. They're going to end up homeless. They were homeless before they broke into my house to steal it from me. So maybe we should put them back where they belong, okay? Let's see here. Eliminate due process. So criminals, right? Like somebody who breaks into your house, they deserve to sit in your house and continue to steal from you. That's not due process. No, we should remove them from the house. That would be due. You know what? This whole thing, it angers me. It angers me so much. Anyway, I'll put a link to the article in the description below. Let me know what you think of this whole situation.